Let's talk to Shanker Singham, who is the chairman of the Growth Commission. Shankar, good morning to you. There was an irony in this, that the great Remainer, Keir Starmer, announcing this trade deal without even a nod to the fact this trade deal couldn't have happened without Brexit.
Mm-hmm. Well, exactly. And, countries have struggled to do trade deals with India for decades. I think the EU's negotiations with them have taken 20 years or so, and they're still not going anywhere. There were a couple of countries that got deals with India, Australia and the UAE more recently, but other than the UAE deal, the Australian deal doesn't really have very much in it. So this is actually quite an achievement. There are significant concessions in this deal for UK professional services. Obviously, the Scotch whisky, long-standing issue that has been, a problem for probably 40 or 50 years, or maybe even longer than that, in terms of India's discriminatory taxation of Scotch whisky. That is being reduced significantly, which is a huge thing. Car tariffs going down from 100 to 10%. I mean, so there's quite a lot in this that nobody really thought the Indians would ever do, and I think it's symptomatic of a sort of moment here in trade negotiations, largely caused by the change in US policy that has opened the door to deals with countries that might not have been so willing to make them in the past. It's 3 years in a negotiation, which is a very short period of time to negotiate with anybody, let alone India. And we didn't get everything we wanted. I don't think we got legal services access, which would have been nice to have. But these issues that we have got resolved in this trade deal are very difficult issues that have been with us for decades, and this is an achievement. There's no doubt about it. But obviously, as you pointed out, it was initiated after Brexit as part of the UK's independent trade policy, and started the first couple of years, obviously, with the previous government. So I think both Conservatives and the Labour government can draw some plaudits for getting this concluded.
Prime Minister Modi says, doesn't he, Shankar, that this is an unprecedented deal, it's a great deal for India, and there will be some people looking askance thinking, in 1 month after national insurance has been hiked by this government on employers, which is having a direct impact on employment, thousands of Indian workers can be seconded here and they won't have to pay any national insurance, leading to the charge of a two-tier tax system.
Well, just to be clear about trade deals, they don't talk about migration. This isn't about migration. It's about movement of temporary workers. Until we start graduating some mathematicians and scientists and IT people, we are going to need people in these sectors to come over for short-term secondments. And the reason you have this exemption from social security and from national insurance is that these workers who come on short-term secondments are paying these taxes in their home countries anyway. So you're trying to avoid a situation where they are double taxed. Because obviously, if you're a worker, you're a key worker, you know a lot about AI or something, you're being seconded over and you're told by your employer you're going to be double taxed if you go, you're not going to go. So you have to remove those burdens, and that's actually quite normal. We've done that with lots of countries. We have double tax treaties with lots of countries. I think if the concern is that UK workers and Indian workers for this short-term period are on a different footing, the answer is what the Growth Commission has recommended, which is not to do a national insurance tax increase. We advocate eliminating that. We don't think that is good for any workers. But I think we've got to be quite clear about, if you are going to bring foreign workers in to do these jobs that are needed for short-term secondments, short-term periods, you're going to have to ensure they're not double taxed. And so that's what this deal is. That's what that part of the deal is about.
I'm looking at what we actually buy from India, Shankar, and how this might benefit British people. Let's try and be positive here. So we might see cheaper prices of cars from India, clothing and footwear jewellery, and apparently we get a lot of frozen prawns from India. Who knew that was a thing?
Evidently, and the tariffs on those has gone down. So yes, I mean, generally with these things, I mean, there's another dimension to this. Yes, absolutely, there are benefits from cheaper products in the apparel, textile sector, those kinds of things, clothes, some food, etc. There are benefits to UK industry that export. I mean, I mentioned Scotch whisky. I mean, India could be by far the world's largest Scotch whisky market. It is $1 billion now, I think. That's a significant benefit for UK industry. But there's another dimension of this that people shouldn't forget, which is there is a very, very big geopolitical issue and a geopolitical realignment going on here. India is being required by countries like the US and the UK and the Quad, i.e. Japan, Australia, India, and the US in Asia, to essentially to pick a side. They can't be all the time. They can't be trading with the Russians and supporting the Russians all the time while expecting to be a preferred trade partner of the West. So they're going to have to pick a side. I think this is part of it. I think you're also going to see very potentially a US-India deal announced, fairly soon. And all of this is part of bringing India into that coalition of the willing, if you like, to confront ultimately China in a trade context and dealing with China's economic system. So we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that it's more than just commercial interests and even consumer interests. There's also a very important geopolitical dimension. This is, the world's, arguably 6th biggest economy. It's by far the most populous country in the world now, and it is very much somebody you want on your side of the table as you negotiate with countries like China.
Okay, Shanker, great to see you. Shanker Singham there, Chairman of the Growth Commission.